Happy New Year, viewers. This is Sparkster1701, and we've got ourselves a rather special and unique Transformer to show off to you to kickstart the 2021 season. This here is the Collectors Club version of Overrun. Of course, this toy was from the Transformers Collectors Club. He was released back in 2012, and this was one of the toys featured that year that club members had to pay for. Overrun here is basically the same character as the Generation 1 Runabout. However, at the time of the making of this toy, Hasbro did not have the trademark still for Runabout. So they went ahead and reused an older name that they still had the trademark for. For those of you that are fans of that name, Overrun first started out in the Transformer history as an action master for the Autobots back in 1990. Of course, I didn't necessarily get this guy by myself. I had help from new subscriber 9Ball, who was supposed to get me somebody else, get me a 2-pack, but apparently the person that was involved in this cheated us both. But 9Ball was able to secure this one for us, and we do send you our thanks for it. Because I gotta say, he is a rather impressive looking toy. Now, of course, some of you may recognize the mold. The mold for this toy is a repaint of the Generations Wheeljack, which in turn was a retool and repaint of the earlier released TurboTrax. Or to us G1 fans, that would have just been plain Trax. And of course, that's pretty obvious from the way the wings are deployed out here, that that's who the character's body style comes from. But at any rate, let's take a look at this toy a little bit up close. I do like the fact that he has extra guns here mounted on beside the head unit. But if we shift that out of the way, we can take a look at some of his articulation. The head does turn from left to right, and it is on a bit of a ball joint, so it can rock up and down a bit. His arms do rotate at the shoulders, but you will have to shift them a bit to get them around the wings. So that does limit how far they can move. But he can raise the arm up about so far, smack himself in the face with the tire. He does have a joint at his elbow, so you can bend the arm at the elbow considerably more than 90 degrees. And he does have a swivel at the bicep, so he does have G.I. Joe's battle grip. And to go even further, he does have a wrist that rotates. So he's got quite a lot of articulation there in the arms. He does have a twistable hip, so he can do the twist. The legs can be spread apart into a full splits. You can raise his leg at the hip 90 degrees, and we can also bend the leg at the knee 90 degrees. So he does have quite a range of motion on him. Let's reset him back there. He is kind of wonky to keep standing, though, but it doesn't take too much effort. I've seen some that are far worse. Before we continue on, let's take a look at some of his accessories. Starting with his gun. It's done predominantly in a black plastic, but it does have a red tip, which is a nice homage to his Generation 1 counterpart. The gun has a special clip on the side that allows it to be clipped on to certain areas on the robot, and the gun barrel folds inward as well. This is because in the process of transforming Overrun, you can store this gun inside the car mode. So that is kind of nice to have. And then lastly, Overrun also has these two guns. They're both done in red plastic, so they are exactly the same. But they are on a little hinge so that they can be positioned. These guns can be attached to the sides of the car to be used as side-mounted pipes or low-level hanging guns, which we'll show you here in just a moment. Okay, let's take a look at transforming Overrun. The first thing we do is we turn him here to the side, and we're going to fold up his feet, which is going to involve folding up this back portion along with the tire, but also to make sure the front bumper comes up as well. And you just kind of lock the front bumper onto the legs. I will warn you, on very brand new samples of this toy, it is kind of hard to work the bumper loose on the feet, because I ended up popping the feet off of him, just like that. Thankfully, Hasbro makes it so that clumsy fingers like mine can easily reattach it. And while we're at it, we also fold down the back section of the car here. And next, we'll face him forwards, because we're going to connect the legs together here to form the hood of the car. Then we shift the wings so they're more horizontal, because then we're going to take the tips of the wings and rotate them inwards. Just exactly like that. And then you continue to rotate the entire wing section straight down, like that. Because then we're also going to slide the legs into well, what we do is we're basically pushing the head down, which will slide the windscreen down, and we just connect the windscreen into place on the legs, just like that. Now, you'll take these back tires, and you will fold them out to the side. And then we raise the arms up into an I surrender pose. Then the wings can be folded up and slid inwards so that they form the doors to the car. Just manipulate them around the legs to snap them in place. Just like that. As you can see, they slide on little hinges here on the back side. Once you've got them in, you'll adjust the wheels so that they are facing outwards like this. And then we're going to shift the arms inwards a bit. While keeping the wheels out. Just the shoulder bits need to go in. And of course, since they're also on a ball joint, the arms will pop off very easily, as you just saw there. This is going to be fun to reattach. I just noticed here the Decepticon symbol here on the chest I don't know how well it's coming off on the camera, but it is a heat-sensitive label. Another nice homage to the Generation 1 toy. Of course, it also helps if we rotate the arms at the shoulder a bit so that the ball joint is facing upwards. Then make sure the wheels are at the side so that way the arms will shift into the spot they're supposed to be. Just exactly like that. That's the way they're supposed to go. And then you just straighten the arms out a bit. They kind of recommend having the arms going in such a way like that. And then, before we finish things up, you would take his gun, you fold it in half like I showed earlier, and then you can attach it to this hole right here inside the toy. And while you're at it, this gray piece here also folds inward inside the car. So we're going to come here, we're going to bend the arms. You may have to rotate it so that the elbows are up, so that you can fold the arms. So he reaches up, touches his shoulders like that. And then we fold the back unit of the car up and over. And then it should fold down and attach, which it is not wanting to do for us. Just see if we adjust these a little bit more. Maybe he's not down in far enough or something. Move these in a little closer to the head. See if that'll help. Hold on a second. Okay, the problem I was having was the arms connect to some posts on the inside of the rear section of the car. So it requires a little bit of careful folding. But it's kind of after you've gotten that in, then all you need to do is just take the gun, the little red guns, and they connect down here somewheres onto the underside of the car. Back here near the doors. Yep, here we go again. Alright, the guns connect down here to these little posts, right next to the hinges. And then there you have it. There he is in his car mode. Some viewers seem to think that it's based on a Chevy Camaro with a modified front bumper, of course. Which, of course, is a far cry from the original car, which was based on the Lotus Esprit Turbo. Car more famously known for being in the James Bond movies, The Spy Who Loved Me and For Your Eyes Only. Rest in peace, Sir Roger. But at any rate, it is nice to see that they did carry over the paint scheme with a few nice added details to it as well. Also keeping the Decepticon symbol on the hood of the car. That's a nice touch. And as an added bonus, like I said, the label on his chest is heat sensitive. Did not realize that until we were filming this video. And for any of you who might be wondering, yes, he does have a flight mode. To do the flight mode, the first thing we have to do is remove the guns. We raise the back section of the car, or at least get it to detach a bit, so that we can get the doors opened. Come on back here, let go of the doors. Just like that. Let go of the doors. Once we got the doors detached, you fold the doors down. Once they're detached, there we go. Try to get the windscreen reconnected so it doesn't flap about on me. And then you would just fold the wings outward. Rotate out the tips. Of course, get the back section reattached. So unfortunately, the wings don't have a whole lot of articulation, so they do hang kind of low. And then they show that you would reattach the guns onto the posts down here. But that's kind of a chore to get them in there. Did go in, it just doesn't make the loud snap like you would expect to hear. It's kind of, thankfully they're on hinges. There we go. And there he is in his flight mode. Since he is based on a toy of tracks, he should be able to fly. Although, with the way the wings kind of hang down, I'm not really as pleased with that visually. Now, of course, he also comes with a collector card, which lists him as Overrun, and he is a Decepticon car. It shows his technical data as a bar graph, but it does list the numbers at the side. It gives his strength as 7, his intelligence is 6, his speed is 8, his endurance is 7, his rank is 6, and his courage, fire blast, and skill are all 7s. His motto is, "Beauty is fleeting, especially when I'm around." Overrun tries to pass himself off as a suave connoisseur of fine things. It's not a facade he can really maintain for long, less because of his generally low intelligence and more because of his interest in beautiful objects starts and ends with blow them up. Now, I like that it says there low intelligence, but he has a 6 for intelligence. So, I'm guessing somebody here obviously thinks 6 is a low intelligence score. His drive to seem sophisticated is in direct conflict with his enthusiastic love of explosives and action. The former is almost always on the losing side of that battle. He's not interested in the Decepticon plan for conquest. He's just with them because of the greater opportunities for his kind of fun. He's always on the move, looking to create a bigger fireball, a larger bomb crater, and generally cram every microsecond with action. So basically, Overrun here is described as an action junkie. There's something else I want to point out to many of you fans here before we get to our conclusion, and that deals with a section of the interior of the box. Now, you saw the box front on the title screen for the video. If you saw in the distance, you could see that they also did Runabout. And Runabout was available from the Collectors Club that year. He was the club freebie for the year. However, if you decided later to buy Overrun here as the actual toy, you could store Runamuck here with him. This larger bit of foam has a cutaway of a similarly shaped car, which would allow you to store either one. You'd store one of them up here. But as this is Overrun's box, he is generally stored down in the bottom. But at any rate, we just wanted to make sure that many of you fans knew that was definitely an option. So now we get to my thoughts. What do I think of this toy? Well, I do find it interesting, to say the least. I mean, again, he is a repaint, and since they did his buddy the exact same way, that means it's been repainted 3 times already. So that does get a little bit repetitive, but I don't have any of the other versions of that toy, so I can overlook that for the moment. It is nice to see that they found a way to bring an obscure character back. But I do think it is a little on the complicated side. He is a bit of a pain to transform, because his arms have to be in exactly the right position. And if they are not exactly lined up right, it will not transform properly. So it is a bit of a pain, and it doesn't help that we don't have a whole lot of wiggle room in there for it. The instructions were also done at a time when they really weren't trying to be all that clear exactly on what you were doing. So they're a step back from the G1s, and in some ways they're almost worse than what the modern ones are right now. But at any rate, it is an interesting toy, and surely if you can find one of them at a reasonable price, because these collector club exclusives are notoriously expensive, I would say seek it out, especially if you are a fan of the Decepticon Shock Troopers. Since he, at least in robot mode especially, he certainly does look far more intimidating and imposing than his Generation 1 counterpart. At any rate, that's my review of the Collectors Club version of Overrun. I hope you all enjoyed it. If you liked the video, leave me a thumbs up here on YouTube. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button and join our ranks. Make sure you also ring the bell so you'll get notified when we post new content. We also ask that you share this video with your friends and fellow collectors. That's what helps this channel grow. And also share your thoughts about Overrun or Runabout in the comments down below. This is Sparkster1701 saying I'll catch you all later.